Okay, yep, we have feed. Nice. Okay, cool. Can I just confirm then that those folks who are present are logged into the system and are good?
Yep.
Excellent.
Yep.
Now, I did recently upgrade... I did recently upgrade the version of Boundary from level 10 to a level... not level. From version 10 to version 11. And there was another small update that followed not long after that. So overall, they promised me that performance should be improved. So hopefully you guys noticed a lot faster a login. But, as with anything relating to updates and upgrades, if you spot anything that was working before and doesn't look like it's working now, do let me know so that I can let the guys in charge of... So basically I can raise a support request as a result. But things have so far been pretty good. But if you guys just want to give your character sheets a check over, make sure everything is where you remember it and what you remember it as. The rest we will have to find out as we go. Hopefully everything should be fine. In the meanwhile, we're down a Chris Powell because he's elsewhere at work. We are currently waiting for our chief engineer to appear. No word yet, so possibly Dave is just running late. So we will more than likely get on with this lot straight away. But before I do, does anybody have anything they want to bring up? Questions, concerns, comments, that kind of thing, things that I should remember from last time. You want to make sure I remember that, but can be anything really, so no one's got anything to bring up.
Nope, just my usual listen to Celerity, please thing. Yeah.
I will bring that up then once because at the moment we're just showing the starting shortly page. So if you do have something cool, we can get around to announcing that just as soon as I've played the intro sequence. So hold on to that, Chris. I will get around to you in just a sec. But if there's no one else with any other actual concerns, then I am going to turn the ship rumble off. I'm also going to turn the intro theme off and bring us into our intro sequence. So, if you'll excuse us, folks, we'll be back in a couple of seconds. Okay, welcome everybody to the continuing adventures of the USS Combs. And today with me are the majority of our intrepid crew. Not everybody, however, but hopefully we'll have our chief engineer along with us at some point. But unfortunately, Chris Powell... Yes, I did actually remember the ship name this time. But that's fine. Every time I do something like that, I'm removing threat from my threat pool. So my ability to make your lives more interesting becomes less with every mistake I make. So it should hopefully teach me the lesson pretty quick. In the meantime, however, let's actually put on some of our ambience. We do have a couple of announcements, and the first of which has already been declared, but I'm going to bring it back up anyway so that folks can see it on the screen. Solarity. We are still up to episode 7 at the moment. When can we expect episode 8, Chris?
That'll be next Monday.
Nice. Next Monday.
And
did you have another thing to announce as well?
Nope. I think that's everything at the moment.
Cool beans. Next Monday. All right then. Stay tuned, folks. On a similar vein. Sorry, Chris. What was that?
I got to be extra evil this time.
Oh, we now have even more evil. Your ability to deliver evil seems to be going up by degrees. I think they've cast you in a role that you've done too well at there, my dude. You know what this episode needs more of? Chris being evil. Let's give him more evil.
Acting? What's that?
It's not acting if it's real. What voice was that, Matt? I don't know. Answers on a postcard. Or indeed answers in chat if you think you know. Speaking of announcements, let's not forget that our other Chris Powell, has his Having a Mosey road trip adventure video has gone up recently, as has Penny Races. So please make sure to check out the Utter Crisp in order to keep up with what our Dave is up to. Not Dave. Good God, that's another threat point gone. The other Chris. Let's give credit where credit is due and not misplace it. Jeez. So there we are. Just as soon as I said reducing my threat will help me remember names better, I go and lose one. Difficult. Never mind. I have one teeny tiny announcement that I'm going to throw out there in a very similar vein to what I did last time, which was the guys at Pelgrane Press are now putting up the Yellow King RPG bundle. The Yellow King RPG is not a million miles away from their Trail of Cthulhu RPG, but they've got more of a focus of the King in Yellow and other such weird tales from Chambers and Goldman and all that lot. So if you haven't already got it and fancy giving to Cancer Research UK, then the King in Yellow, the Yellow King, pardon me, role-playing game is out now from Pelgrane Press. So I got the link up here on the browser window, and I'll also post it in the description when it's a video on YouTube later on. So, with all of that in mind, let's quickly get to a summary of where we currently are, eh? And I believe the best way I can describe your current situation is not good. As I'm going to throw us to the surface with a bit of additional ambience to go with it. So, the crew of the Combs were sent to investigate a strange planetary system, which had a very long number to it. HIP 73513 system has a very unusual feature, and then it features a pair of Trojan M-class planets, which are a pair of planets in perfect orbit of each other. One M-class planet is bigger than the other, but the smaller of the two seems to display signs of civilization, or at least the ruins of civilization, that the other larger planet does not have as much of. Plus, the smaller planet also seemed to be displaying a small energy signature. And who is that? I believe that's our chief engineer.
It is. I'm sorry. I completely forgot.
Well, you're here now, and that's what counts. I'm not angry, I'm just, disappointed.
Disappointed. I'm sorry.
That's fine. I was just giving us a recap of where we are. So after having detected the power signature on the smaller M-class planet, you guys determined that the atmospheric conditions there made transporting down difficult, or at the very least using the transporter beams system difficult. So you elected to go in a small craft instead, which gave the chance to bring the Gwicha, our Klingon scout ship, which unfortunately got struck by a bolt of lightning, essentially overloading the ship systems and bringing it down in a crash. The crash could have been a lot more severe, of course, if it weren't for the combined efforts of those on board the shuttle to get power back and to bring the thing up from a nosedive. And this is where you currently find yourself, on the surface of the smaller M-class planet. Needless to say, the atmospheric conditions outside are really, really not good. So in all likelihood, you guys are going to have to replicate yourselves some EV suits, if you don't already have them on the ship. Ramming speed indeed. So the Gwicha should at least have the capability of replicating, if there aren't already some Starfleet standard EV suits on hand. So, if I unpause the game a second, you guys should feel free to go into the items directory in order to find the character equipment and EV suits. Now, as has already been noted, we are down our chief medical officer, or at least the player. So I will do the addition of the EVA suit, pardon me, to Dr. Sott while everybody else sorts themselves out. I'm being judged in Klingon, apparently. I accept this judgment. What else? Yes, so the atmospheric conditions and other things that you've learned from sensors up in orbit seem to determine that there once was a civilization here on this planet over 100,000 years ago. But some catastrophic event has occurred where the atmosphere has been turned completely on its head and has become very detrimental to any kind of life. But there's still that mysterious power signature. Some of you have characters who are injured, some of you do not. So Hopkins has got bruised ribs, Dr. Sott has also got bruised ribs, and Tavish has got a head injury, to the surprise of nobody.
Lies. Hopkins is totally fine.
Yeah, she's operating within normal parameters, yes.
Don't listen to the people's propaganda.
Right, let me turn the wind down a smidgeroo. As usual, a big thanks to Ben Looms and the other guys at Sirenscape for the awesome Sirenscape player that I've been using for donkey's years now to do the background sound effects and ambience. Cheers, my dudes. Much appreciated. This is not a sponsored episode, by the way. But if Ben and the guys at Sirenscape fancy hitting me up, then that would be, awesome. In the meantime, yes, you guys have a problem. You have a Klingon scout ship that has crash landed. Its power systems are a bit wrecked from the power surge they got when the ship was hit by an excessively large bolt of lightning. So you guys are going to have to try and find something in the environment to see if you can use it to repair your ship. with that in mind, have I forgotten anything, or does anybody have any questions? It seems not. So, if everybody has got their hands on an EVA suit, seems like you do. Okay. Not everybody does. Let's give Garrow one. Point. Yes.
I do have a question.
Of course.
How far away are we from the signal we got while we were, above the planet? I'm not crash landed on it.
So how far were you before you crash landed?
Yes.
How on course do you think you were?
Yeah.
You were relatively on course, so due to the fact that let me see, what was the successes or lack of that you gained when it came to crash landing this thing? Fitness and security, control and con, 1 success. So overall, the pilot, meaning Commander Hopkins, Hopkins' ability to try and pull the thing out of a nosedive within a certain manageable distance of where you were originally intending to land is a bit difficult to determine at this point, but anybody with a tricorder will do their best to try and get an idea of the distance and overall location of this strange power reading. So anybody who wants to can give me a control and science check for using a tricorder. Anybody with a focus on sensors will be beneficial. What was that, Mark?
I was going to say, is there any benefit to using a engineering tricorder for that? Because then Tavish.
You can certainly try. You're looking for a power source, so it wouldn't be outside of the realms of what an engineering tricorder would pick up.
I might try it because I've got a fairly high control. I mean, science is
All right.
sort of average. I'll try it anyway.
Do you have any focuses
help?
that can be used for it?
I don't have any I was gonna say I don't have any focuses, but I can definitely help.
So Tavish and Phlesc can help, and Garrow can give it a good old scan. Okay, cool.
I've got tactical systems. Would that be a good use?
Tactical systems are more for locating targets and then dealing them damage, disabling them. So tactical systems won't have quite the same application here.
Okay, so no
But survival could. What was that, Mark?
Focus in electroplasma power systems. That'd be useful. Because we're
That
looking
would
for help.
infer that the power reading you're looking at utilizes electroplasma power.
We don't know what it is yet.
Quite. So I'll allow you to use manufacturing and metallurgy as the focus for this, actually.
I do actually have power systems.
You do, and it's generic power systems, so that makes for a better focus to use.
Okay.
So between the
Alright,
three of you, you've all got something actually quite useful.
Okay. So in this case, can I use 2 dice or is it
Yes.
Parent figure.
No, parent figure, ignoring that 20. Okay, so it's definitely down to you then, Chris.
one? Okay, so 2 dice.
2 dice, please, with a focus. Nice. 2 successes, which means you got 2 over and above what you needed. There is a faint power signature coming from the planet's northwest, about a kilometer or so from your current position, so it's definitely walkable. For those who have got bruised ribs, it's not going to be pleasant, but at the very least you've now got some overall protection by being locked in your EVA suits, so they will offer a bit of needed stability for your rib injuries. That being said, bruised ribs is going to make the slog take the trek to this power signature take a bit longer for some as a result of their being able to drain
Caro
less air.
Harry a Klingon.
Can Garrow carry a Klingon? Technically, it's not outside the realms of possibility. Yes, if you can give them a helmet, then you're carrying a bit of extra weight. So the advantage will... So those who are uninjured can try and carry the injured. The uninjured being... Gherkin. Let's see.
Um,
Yes.
An anti-grav sled would have been nice at this point.
Yep,
can
the
we
one time...
replicate one?
The one time
think
you
Dar-
didn't bring the anti-grav sled.
I think everyone would have a better chance of carrying Dr. Sot than they would trying to carry Hopkins.
I was actually going to suggest something, and Matt may not like it because it's basically me splitting the party.
Well, what do you suggest?
Well, we came here to investigate, but at the moment we are stuck on the planet, aren't we? So I honestly do think we should be splitting up. One team trying to fix the ship, and the other investigating what we came down here to investigate. I think I would suggest we all stay here and try and get all the parts, but then again, we have no idea how, you know, how...
So, yeah, okay. The issue here being that you've got so little power that you don't have power enough to replicate replacement parts. As soon as you get enough power, you can then start creating, via the replicators, some of the parts that you need to get the ship operational again. And that's the rub of your situation. A lot of your power systems were blown out, not the least of which because this the Guicha, for all of her charm, is actually a fairly old ship. She has been through 24 refits in total, and a refit tends to happen once every 10 years. So,
can I I've got historical engineering. Does that go on to Klingon ships as well? It's one of my traits.
Potentially, yes. You recognize, you will recognize aged systems, but this has been refit, so some of its systems have been modernized, as it were. But at the same time, you know, who knows how good a job the Klingons did. Yes, sorry, Mark, I talked over you there. What was that?
No, we're about to walk into a 100,000-year-old civilization. That is historical engineering.
Yes,
which is going to
indeed.
be useful.
So you can certainly leave people behind if you want, but your ability to get much done back here without primary or secondary power is going to be extraordinarily limited. So, what do you think? You still
Well, who
intent on
wants
leaving
to-
some behind, or do you want to take everybody?
Who wants to stay behind is the question, because I'm fit and healthy, so I can make it quicker with the other healthy people. It's just a case if the injured people do want to stay behind. If we're going to split the party, we should see who wants to stay.
I do have a question for Matt.
Of course.
Had Hopkins brute force and Klingon her way through to keep up with everyone else, ignoring the bruiser. Just keep walking as if she's not injured.
Use Klingon grit and determination to get through, sure. Whether that will have detrimental effects to your health later, of course, I can hold back for maybe later. So yes, absolutely, Hopkins can try and power her way through this. It'll just be up to me to decide whether or not something happens as a result of this, as a consequence of these actions. You just have to make sure the good news is that Dr. Sott himself is injured, therefore his ability to spot somebody else struggling with injury, or trying to argue that she doesn't need to be seen to, you've now got a bit more of an advantage on that attempt, because Sott himself is a bit worse for wear. So the answer is yes, Hopkins can try and cling on her way through this. So, are you leaving folks behind, or are you actually venturing out as a group?
It's up to you, Tavish. Do you want to stay behind?
I'm just thinking, if this is like it was before, I'd rather stay behind, because last time we got teleported out, and at the moment teleportation is not going to work because of all the interference. I'd rather have at least try to fix the ship, so we've got an escape plan if things seem to go wrong down here.
Cool. Well, we can't leave you on your own. We'll have to leave someone behind with you.
We can leave Dr. Sott with Tavish.
Okay, so can we have communications? I mean, there's interference. We can't teleport, but can we still communicate with Tavish if we're
Well, the
distance away?
good news is your EVA suits have got built-in communicators to them, and now that as long as you're on the planet's surface, you can at least communicate reasonably well with each other. Occasionally there are breaks in the weather which allow a bit of a crackled response, which seems to indicate that the combs itself is trying to contact you, but at the moment the weather is too bad to allow any of that through. So...
I suppose then, if we do leave Tavish and Dr. Sott, what I'd want to do before we left is Tavish can give a quick triage of the kind of things we should look for to help speed up repair.
Yeah, is it alright if I have a look at the... even though I haven't got the power, I would have the technical knowledge to probably realise exactly what's wrong with the ship.
yeah,
So,
let's bring in the token so we can at least... So... Yes, you are going to have to diagnose the ship while they're away. And of course, you have got a couple of other issues that you can have a look at whilst they are gone. So if Sott and Tavish remain behind, the rest can soldier on and see what they can find. Is that the plan?
yeah.
Cool. Cool.
Yeah, I was going to say, because where you're going, we may be able to, it's not going to be, it may take a little bit longer, but if you find something which we can use, I mean, Phlesc has some, is pretty much like our secondary engineer person.
Backup engineer.
Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, I'm fine with that. Unless somebody else, one of the players wants to stay behind instead of Dr. Sott, I'm okay with that.
Oh, Dr. Sott's injured. He needs to stay.
Yeah. I'm okay for going on a adventure.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll take a walk.
Take a hike, pal.
So it looks like it's Hopkins, Phlesc, Gurkow, and Garrow that are all going to investigate, whilst Tavish and Sott remain behind. Okay. In that case, I will probably to and fro a little bit with Tavish just to get an update on what you need. But in the meantime, Phlesc is doing a dance. can follow the readings, as can Gurkha, of course, follow the readings to the power source. So, you guys set off in a northeasterly direction. First thing I'm going to ask from Tavish then is going to be a reason and engineering check. Difficulty 1, just so you can get an idea of what you've got to work with and how much work is needed.
Okay, I am going to use a talent as well of I know my ship. Whenever you attempt to do a task to determine a technical problem, I get an additional D20.
Which means you get to roll 3. Neato.
Yeah. What was it? Control and engineering.
Reason and engineering, please.
Reason and engineering.
We do have 4 momentum, just throw that out there.
You do have 4 momentum, yes.
Do you want me to take a momentum?
I mean, we are always usually very conservative with momentum, and now we have a ship that's a momentum factory. We're not on it, but...
so, just a thingy. Focuses, I don't really have anything which is going to help here, am I? With, like, repairs and stuff.
Power systems is going to help.
Okay. Oh, so... And I am using... should I use a momentum? So I have 4 dice?
Yeah, I think so, but what's Gurkha got? Connie, what do you think?
What momentum? Always use it.
Always use it. There we are.
There we go.
Alright,
Take
I've
it.
used it. Yep.
All right then.
Okay.
You don't have parent figure this time, so you know.
No,
roll
so
well.
anything
Yeah,
that happens is all on you.
but I have Legion of Honor, so...
You've used that once already, I believe.
No, have I? Yes, I have, yes. Yeah, you are correct.
Could Tavis get Dr. Sot to assist? Is it not too late? Because Dr. Sot can use his warm welcome.
I like it.
Okay, cheerful, outgoing personality, perfectly diplomatic. To put diplomatic guests at ease, whenever assisting another character, the bully may use presence instead of their own. So yeah, further, both the Bolian and the character being assisted may ignore the increase in complication range for the task. Well, there hasn't been an increase in the complication range. Warm welcome is more to do with diplomacy, and we're not using presence. So I like the grasp. I like the grasping at anything, anything to improve the situation, which is what you want. But
can I ask what the doctor's reason in engineering is?
The doctor's reason is 11, but engineering is 2.
Would we be able to use science instead of engineering on this task?
No, because you're trying to diagnose an engineering problem.
Okay, alright. So yeah, I'll just do it then. So 4 dice, I've used the momentum. Right, here we go.
And clench. Alright, it was a 19 and a 17, so 2 came critically close. But you did get 3 successes, which means you got 2 over and above what you needed. Alright, so overall, there has been structural damage as a result of the nosedive this thing took. But she's a tough old bird, is the Gwicha, and is made of solid stuff. So the structural damage could have been worse. The main problem is the fact that the majority of the power systems got shorted out. So there's a lot of basically burnt out wiring, and the Klingon equivalent of the EPS power grid is going to need replacing in a few places because some of the conduits and the wiring got flash fried, which is the main problem. Some of the wiring needs replacing, but you don't have the power to create the replicatable replacements. So if somebody can find some way, if these guys can find some way of bringing power in sufficient quantity to the ship, then that will go a long way to aiding your ability to doing anything. So that takes a bit of time to diagnose because you have to run through the bowels of the ship and try and find each of the burnt-out conduits. Yes, Dave?
I'm just going to say, with this would be an extended task once we get back to it.
Yes.
Wouldn't it?
Yes, yes.
My miracle worker is going to work here, isn't it?
Yes.
And also pair team leader for me in an extended task, isn't it?
But you
yeah,
are
but you're not
walking
here.
elsewhere.
I'm walking elsewhere. So if I come back with the parts,
Yes,
Yeah,
if and when you
yeah.
come back, it'll become a different matter entirely. But for the meantime, yes, you do have Miracle Worker, which will assist in an extended task. Let's move us on to the other guys who are marching away. So diagnosing the ship is going to take Tavish a goodly long while because she's going to have to walk through the bowels of the Guichai. In the meantime, everybody else... The power signal starts to get more and more... So let me take people who aren't there away. But I'll keep your tokens there just so you can see what's on the map. You eventually come upon a small rise, and to your surprise, what you find is a tall, five-sided, well, monolith surrounded by 5 smaller monoliths, and completely standing out in direct not opposition exactly, but what stands out is there's some kind of computerized display console that's whose make is weathered and aged. Of course, it's been battered by a couple of millennia worth of weather, but overall, the design and make of the computer display panel is entirely at odds with the monolith. Now, the monolith, even in appearance, shares many similarities with the gigantic monoliths that you found on Bacchus 4. Obviously, the main difference here is scale. But it is still a massive and tall, massively tall monolithic creation that appears carved of a material not the likes that you've so far seen in the area around it, and it's also the outer parts of the monolith are laced with an intricate network of little channels and at times pictograms. Again, very similar to what you found before on Bacchus 4. So, what would you like to do?
Scan it.
Scan it. Always good.
Yep.
Cool, so whoever wants to give me a control and science check can do so. Phlesc has got manufacturing and metallurgy, which can help. Gurkow, who we can always throw in that ever so handy statistical probability if you really, really want.
Yeah, I can assist.
Because if it's similar in layout to the monoliths that you found on Bacchus 4 and maybe even on Seku 6, then statistically it's probable that if you scan it you will find certain results. So there we are. That was a long-winded way of justifying your focus. Statistical probability.
Fine. Control and science then.
Control and science. One of you can roll 1 dice, one of you can roll 2 dice.
Yeah.
Or one of you can scan the console while the other scans the monolith, in which case it'd be 2 separate 2 dice.
Oh, okay.
scans.
I'll scan the console then.
Okay.
2 dice.
Oh, and then roll it. Yep.
Yep, that's groovy. Each of you has difficulty of 1 in this, so that's 1 success for Phlesc, 3 successes for Gurkow. Okay, cool. Let's start with the console. The console, as has already been noted, is a very different technology to the monolith, insofar as the monolith does indeed appear to be very much composed of the similar materials that you found that the giant monoliths on Bacchus 4 had been created from, right down to the intricate kind of patterns that seem to double not only as some form of pictographic reference, but they also seem to double as some kind of like channels, almost like computer chip soldering pathways. The iconography is extremely similar, and the material composition of the monolith suggests that, just like ones that you've encountered before, it was composed of materials that you would usually find in satellites, like moons. And the composition doesn't suggest anything that you've come across so far on the planet's surface, suggesting that the monolith was brought here from somewhere else. The power source seems to be emanating from the monolith, but interestingly enough, when Phlesc is busy scanning the computer console, you have two surprising revelations, one of which is the power to the console is apparently directly linked to the monolith, and so the console is getting a sliver of power coming out of the monolith. The other interesting thing about the computer console is, while it is almost certainly different technology, there are very close similarities to the way that they have whoever designed the computer display panel seems to have done so in a manner very, very close to the means that the monolith has been created. I will allow you to expend a point of momentum in order to obtain more information on that, should you wish, and I do believe Phlesc can get two questions out of one obtain information.
Yep, if I could do that, that'd be great, because we got full momentum anyway.
Everybody else okay with that?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yep.
All right. Take your momentum point.
Pew.
All right, I'm going to give you the first one for a freebie, and you can come up with the second question yourself. The similarities in the way that they had created their computer circuits, and indeed the power system, or at least the layout of the power distribution for the console, is so close to that found on the monolith, you would have to hazard an educated guess that it's not necessarily designed by the same people, but the monolith could very well have been used as a template. So somebody copied or derived the computer processing pathways and power distribution based on the monolith. Can you think of a second question you would like to ask? And this goes out to everybody.
Yeah, I'm trying to think. What does it do if I press on?
Well,
Can I extract power using the same template and somehow get that to our ship? Those are the only two questions I can think of, but what about the rest of the team?
yeah, can everybody think of any question you think would be relevant in this situation? If not, then which of Mark's questions do you think should be the one to be asked? Remind people what your questions were, Mark.
Helps if I unmute.
Yes, it does.
What happened? What does it do? Like switching on and activating it. What does the interaction do? What can I control the monolith to do?
And the other question was...
using the same template, can I get power for myself? Not me, Phlesc, but for us to power up our depowered Klingon ship.
Okay, which of those questions do you think should be asked then, folks? What happens if I turn it on, and can we use this as the power means?
I think maybe the second question, because, I mean, if we didn't have these questions, we'd probably try and turn it on, right? Regardless.
Well, I mean, yes, there's that too.
Right, can we get power from it? Yes, switch it on.
That was easy. So you think the second question would be more prescient? If that's indeed the right word.
Yes, I guess. But then I could possibly argue that with the engineering of Phlesc, we could figure out some kind of some way to plug it in. But
once we know what it does, before we start messing with it. Shall we find out what it does then?
Yeah, I think finding out.
Okay.
What it does.
Final decision then. You want to use it to find out what it does?
Yeah. I mean.
Oh.
Yeah.
All right. So that's the second question. What'd it do? Simply put, by making this realization that they seem to have based their technology on that which they can observe, you can observe in the monolith, deriving the function of this device seems to be some kind of display. In fact, looking at it, you can make out something that equates to a memory core, a very small one. So it seems that this console has a very limited functionality. It only has a singular purpose. That purpose appears to be linked with what looks to be a hologram projector.
Oh, it's like a tourist board.
So if you were to put power to it, a little bit of extra juice to it, it might give you some information.
I think we should do that. Fine. See if the hologram can tell us a bit more.
Okay, so this will require a... Hold on a second. Feline. So this will require a control and engineering check to basically modify... You're going to have to take power from something. So you've got tricorders, you've probably got phasers.
Yeah, I'll probably use a phaser, as I imagine that's got more power than the tricorder.
So as it happens, Phlesc seems to have two phasers. The Type 1 and the Type 2.
Don't know I have the Type 2.
Well,
we can use that.
Never mind, use the Type 1 maybe, since the Type 2 has got a bit more punch in case you need it for later.
Okay, I hope I don't.
Yeah.
Alright, use the Type 1 phaser.
I mean, Hopkins got a Type 2 and a disruptor pistol, so you can always use the Type 2 for her.
Yeah, and you seem to go in for close quarters backleth combat anyway. Yeah, I'll use the Type 2 for a bit of extra power. If someone wants to assist, that means I've got parent figure ready if the roll goes wrong. And I'll take a momentum, because I've got a 5.
Alrighty.
So, control, engineering. Who wants to assist?
Garrow doesn't have anything he can really use to assist in his natural talent. Hopkins, similar. Gurkow, however, being the chief science officer.
Gurkow, I think you should join in.
Yeah. Yes.
Am I still able to use... oh no, it's electro-power systems. Manufacturing and metallurgy. Is that still valid here for...
Yep.
Yep. Okay, so 3 dice with a focus.
Nice. Very nice.
Ooh.
2 successes. And Connie, if you could give us 1 on a similar vein.
Yeah. Let me just check. Control engineering. What? Come on.
Nice, very nice. You definitely get those 2 momentums back. Alright. Now, interestingly enough, something happens as soon as you put the... So, in order to try and facilitate this, you're used to using, you know, breaking open bits of tech in order to try and pull out the power for it. As you pull out as you get handed the phaser from Hopkins, this is Phlesc. So as Phlesc gets handed the phaser from Hopkins, you know, Phlesc has to rip open a part of the terminal to get out its gubbins in order to examine it. So that's probably still already open. And as soon as you put you hover the phaser over it, ready to open the power pack, there's a faint glow in the console's power system. And then you take the phaser away and the glow disappears, and then you put the phaser back close to it and the glow comes back. It's almost like proximity alone to a power source is enough to start drawing power out of the phaser. So merely placing the phaser on an adequate point starts pulling the console starts pulling power from the phaser just from contact with a power source. Stabilizing it, of course, requires both of your efforts in order to make sure that it doesn't draw too much all at once and maybe overload the circuitry. Nevertheless, you do manage to put power into it, and something flickers into existence as a hologram flickers into being. Which is why I moved Garrow, because Garrow was going to be standing right in it. So Garrow has to move to one side as he realizes he's got another figure superimposed hologrammatically over him. The figure is a humanoid, but definitely of a canid persuasion. With muzzle and high ears and forward-facing eyes. The universal translator has a bit of difficulty at first, due to mostly the interference, but thanks to you having picked up the time capsule in the asteroid belt, the universal translator doesn't take long to kick into action, and this is what you get. Let me just change the sound effect over. Greetings, citizens. Welcome to the Pentaurus monolith. Dated at over 5,000 years before our common era, scientists and archaeologists the world over have remained unable to discover who built the monolith or to what purpose. Many have guessed that the monolith served a ritualistic purpose, perhaps as a meeting place to celebrate festivals, or to allow our distant ancestors to chart the course of the stars above. Whatever its true purpose, the Pentaurus monolith remains one of our world's most prized historical sites. Fashioned from a material long since lost to ancient history, the Pentaurus and its big brother monument, the Pentarion, helped early scientists create marvels such as the earliest heat-powered machines and even three-dimensional image capture. Though the language of the writings on the monolith and its sibling helped inform our own people's system of language, we still to this day have not been able to fully decipher the meanings of the carvings on either of these important structures. As our civilization continues to thrive, thanks to the painstaking discoveries made in analyzing these incredible ancient constructions, we look towards the future, with hope that while we are also looking to our past with thanks. For more information on the history of the archaeological studies conducted on the Pentaurus and the Pentarion monoliths, please consult the National Historical Archives. The hologram then loops back and starts the speech all over again.
It's a bloody tourist board.
It is.
However, something else interesting is happening. Your tricorders are reading that the power that was drawn into the console, due to its link to the monolith, has fed back into the monolith, and the monolith's outer etchings, those little complicated angular channels cut into the outer skin of the monolith, are now starting to glow faintly. And as a result, your tricorders are picking up a power signature. The power is now being transferred into the monolith. But strangely enough, the power is also being drawn away, almost like there's an underground link to another place. The power is drifting off towards the east. And if you squint, off in the east, you're sure you can see another large pointy-topped construction near distance. The fact that this thing obviously has angles to it suggests that it's an artificial construction of some sort. The fact that it still has such defined angles, even after 100 millennia of weatherware, suggests it could very well be made of the same material as this monolith, which itself has still got all of its angles and all of its etchings in perfect. They're completely unweathered and therefore as perfect as the day they were obviously etched. So
can
yes.
Gurkal, using decisive scrutiny and the statistical probability, solve some of the glyphs that have been highlighted? Because these the holograms people tried it and they haven't fully deciphered it. Before we go over there, can we glean anything from these inscriptions before we head over there, so we have some understanding of what they're saying?
Have we gotten anything from my scan yet? Because we've done both scans, but we've only got the information from the.
Oh yeah, let's
Good
get the
point.
scans to do that
Good
as well.
point. Obviously, your own scans were limited by the fact that it seems to be made of the same, like I noted, the some kind of material not encountered on this planet, which suggests, but the makeup is similar to the kind of thing you would find in a moon or another planetary body, suggesting that it is very similar to what you found on Bacchus. As soon as the power starts getting fed through it, you get tricorder readings that suggest that this monolith goes down quite far into the crust, but not so far that it seems to go down into the core of the planet. With the way that it was so easily able to derive power from just the nearby presence of a power source, suggests that these channels have serve as much of an energetic purpose. They seem to be very adaptable to utilizing any kind of energy as a power source. However, like I've noted, this smaller monolith doesn't seem to be drilled down far enough into the crust to be able to derive any geothermal energy from the core. But that being said, now that Phlesc activated the control panel and the power is feeding into this monolith, that monolith is now then feeding power to something somewhere else. And you can you could probably follow your readings to that location, and it seems to be in the direction of that other structure that you can see in the near distance. As far as the etchings go, their meaning is still mostly unclear, but some of the pictographs suggest a race of some sort, with the way that they depict themselves as being larger in size than some of the other pictograph creatures. Historically, that suggests one of two things. Either the obvious, which is whoever created the monolith was actually physically taller and bigger than the natives here, or it could be a representation of how they were almost godlike in the estimation of, or in comparison to, the natives. Now, the fact that the people, that the monolith itself has those etchings on, suggests that if the larger people depicted on the monolith are the same people who put the monolith here, It's entirely possible they thought very highly of themselves if this was the case. Nevertheless, I don't know if that helps any, or if that made any sense whatsoever, as I stumbled through a lot of that, but yeah. Maybe the ceremonial purpose that the hologram alluded to is correct in this case. Because this monolith doesn't seem to have any other real purpose. It's certainly an entire... It's got no hollow areas in the middle of it, so there's like no door or anything that you can determine. So the ritualistic nature of it that the hologram suggested might be correct. But if there is another monolith like the hologram alluded, maybe that one's worth investigating.
I was going to say, can we leave the phaser so it's still sending a power into the monolith and then follow the follow the trail?
Yep.
Can I investigate the smaller bits around it?
Yeah, sure. I can give you this for free without needing necessarily to do any kind of scan or anything like that, because you can use what both Gurkow and Phlesc have already discovered. The positioning of these smaller ones are, equidistant, and there are 5 of them, so the number 5 seems to be a firm favourite of this culture, whoever they were. As a Bajoran, Garrow has enough knowledge of symbology in religion and such things to know that, yeah, this probably was some kind of ceremonial site. Because unless these 5 smaller ones were some kind of focusing array of some sorts, which so far Phlesc and Gurkow's scans don't seem to suggest they are, then the best you can think of is that it's some kind of ceremonial purpose.
So no hidden...
No hidden doors, no hidden circuitry, no hidden weapons arrays or anything like that you can determine, no. Which is good news. So, onwards to the next monolith, I take it.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think we've got.
You certainly can't derive much from this place. Sorry, Mark, I talked over you there.
No, I was saying the exact same thing. I think we've got all the info we can from here. And the
Okay.
tourist board.
As you guys trudge off in that direction, I'm going to throw us back to Sot and Tavish. So you guys, I'm just going to cluster over here. So you're slightly out of the way. Sot and Tavish. Now, Sot has not been doing much. He's just been giving Tavish occasional scans to make sure that her head wound doesn't indicate concussion or anything. Tavish can complain about, I've got a job to do here, Doc, as much as she likes. Dr. Sot is actually quite persistent. And whenever Tavish starts to... the strange and infuriating thing about Dr. Sot, as far as Tavish is concerned, is the moment Tavish starts getting all, look, Doc, I've got a job to do here, and, I'm fine, my head wound's fine. The priority is, I need to get these things done. As soon as Tavish starts being difficult and stubborn in that way, Sot switches tactics, and, Tavish is like, I'll be damned, he hasn't just talked me into getting a scan without me realizing he'd already talked me into getting another scan. You don't know how he does it, but somehow he manages to talk his way around your ability to deflect. Either because he's a Bolian or what, you don't know. But, yeah, somehow Sot always manages to find a way around Tavish's stubbornness. And it's like one of those infuriating things of, how did he just do that? Anyway.
This needs investigating at some point.
I need to sit him down and do scans of his brain, or see if he's got some kind of telepathic field going on or so, but, it's like...
I can wait until later.
But for the
Stop
first
giving me
thing,
scans.
yes. At the very least, you can start trying to repair some of the structural damage and get the ship systems ready to replace the power conduits with. So, it's time we did an extended task, which can, of course, be assisted by Dr. Sott. So, because Liz hasn't done an awful lot of rolling as of yet, you can take control of Dr. Sott. Dr. Sott, as we've noticed, has got pretty good insight and reason, but his engineering isn't huge, so that's why he's just helping. The majority of this is going to be done by Tavish. Tavish, you've got Miracle Worker, so whenever you use engineering on an extended task, if you achieve a breakthrough and roll an effect, you get a second breakthrough, so that's cool. So I am going to need some daring and engineering from Tavish. Maybe some reason and engineering from Dr. Sott, who's helping with the theoretical side of it. Sott doesn't have any focuses to help, so it's just going to be going on that alone. But yes, Dave.
Is this perform challenge, not perform task?
This is perform task. This is task.
Okay.
So we got one success, thanks Liz.
Can I use power systems?
Yes, indeed you can. Just to let you know, the difficulty of this initial one is 4. You've already got 1, so now just got to make up 3.
Yeah, so I'm going to use a determination and a value.
Mm-hmm.
And I think I'm going
to,
or mad engineer.
If we're going mad engineer, then you're putting things together that shouldn't work, but somehow does.
Yeah, I honestly think
Okay.
mad engineer sounds better. So yeah.
Technically, this shouldn't work, but what happens if I? And Sott is there going, are you sure that's supposed to go there? Because according to the schematics...
Be fine. Look, all I'm trying to do is make sure it can fly, have shields, and so we can get off. It can have a full repair once we get back to the ship.
Nice. Alright then, so do your thing. Well, looky there.
I've got the 3 successes, but...
Okay.
I can't get rid of complication.
No, you can't. So let's have a look. That was 4 successes overall, which means you hit the difficulty. Cool. So what I now need you to do is... this is just Tavish, because this is now an extended task. You used engineering, which is 5, plus 2 is 7. Can I get you to roll 7 dice? This is where you do perform challenge.
Okay.
7 dice, please. 7 challenge dice. To see how much of a dent you put in this.
7.
Considering you got a complication, you might actually literally put a dent in this. So we'll see how we do. Don't make my ship a Frankenstein! Yeah. Oh, it's almost like I can hear Hopkins' voice on the wind. She sounds angry. Whoa, look at those effects! Okay, cool. So we got 5 successes overall, which means you did actually do very, very well. 4 effects means that you did pretty damned well, actually. So you got 2 breakthroughs for the price of 1 there. And as a result, the difficulty of the next actions go down. You did very well there. There's still some work ahead of you, but because you are so damn good, as in Miracle Worker, you put some things together that by rights should not work, and yet when Sott runs a diagnostic, the results come back with a positive, and he's like, how did you do that? You know what? I'm not sure I want to know.
No, you don't. and don't tell...
Don't tell Hopkins until we're back on the cones, I get you.
Don't tell the commander anything.
Sott makes the buttoning his mouth shut maneuver on, not maneuver, sign on his mouth. Right,
Fantastic.
cool. Back to the others. Since I got you here, I may as well keep you here. Whilst these repairs are going on the Guicha, you guys, the rest of you four, are trudging onwards, following the trail of the power flow, and it becomes pretty obvious pretty quickly as you are passing through ruins of buildings that have been worn down over ages. It becomes very obvious where you're going, because you're going in a straight line towards this gargantuan structure, which, as you get closer, even with the bits of grit and metallic particles being blown at you by the winds, it becomes painfully obvious very quickly that what you are walking towards is a gigantic monolith, on the same kind of scale and size as the ones that you did encounter before on Bacchus, on the Bacchus system. The difference this time is that whoever the original inhabitants of this planet were, if I can go back to the speech by the hologram, yeah, this would suggest that you are walking up to the Pentarion monolith. They appear to have built some kind of structure, some kind of big grand structure around the monolith. Now this has fallen prey to the ravages of time, but it's still a rather large and impressive structure. And as you close in on it, you can see that it's almost like it has got some enormous doors that are all shut. They appear to be sliding doors, the likes of which you are familiar, but the outside of the building still contains a number of etchings in a very similar style to the ones that you have seen on the outside of the monolith. So it seems like these people incorporated the style and technology of the monolith into many aspects of their lives. But unfortunately, it seems the doors are shut and sealed, as there is absolutely no power. Now there's a flicker of energies being channeled into something, more than likely the larger monolith, but if you want to get at it, you're going to have to somehow gain access to this larger building. So how do you think you are going to do that?
More phases.
Well, yeah, I mean, you could use phasers to cut through a door. You could try the same trick you did before again with... Yep, sorry.
Same trick again.
Same trick again, yeah, there's that
again.
option too. Or anything else you think you can think of.
While they're doing that, can Hopkins try to get as much information from their hieroglyphics as possible to give to their science department?
Yeah, I mean, I'm assuming that tricorder readings are being taken, so technically it's all being saved into the memory circuits of the tricorders.
Hopkins no longer has a phaser for them to use.
You still have a disruptor?
No.
No? Okay, so you're giving up the phaser. Okay, yeah, cool.
She gave up the other phaser.
So, yes, what would you like to try?
I'm on comms, aren't I?
Yeah, you can still hear everything that's going on. Transmission's a bit spotty and crackly, but you can still remain in contact with each other.
Then
What do you suggest?
If this problem is, if they tell me they did exactly what they did last time, what they did when they were at the high ground, Tavish would suggest trying to find where
You can do the same
there's
thing
got
again.
to be there's got to there'll be some kind of but to try and find like an emergency open, because it is a building and they wouldn't, you know.
Yeah.
There may,
Okay.
you know, there may be a emergency open, which is going to be manual, than to use any power. So probably to see if they can, you know, try and find that.
Okay. What do you guys think, guys who are actually there?
I think we can look for something like that. It's not.
Mhm.
Don't be too out of bounds to assume health and safety does exist on another planet.
All right then. Let's see. Insight and engineering will allow you to give a cursory glance along the outside of this place and have a look for what would to have a look to see if you can spot anything on the outside that might be what you're looking for. So anybody who wants to give me insight and engineering, kind of focuses that you'd be looking for would be, anything to do with safety, anything to do with emergency power, or power systems in general. Layout makes for good, of course. Statistical probability can come back in again because, you know, where would you be likely to put something like this? This was very clever of you creating that focus, I have to say. It can have numerous applications.
Would linguistics help? For
Linguistics,
trying to
yeah,
read?
potentially, yeah. Try and get a read on whether or not there's signage that you can make out in order to try and piece together where an emergency, crank or something. So
Survival?
0 successes from Hopkins. Okay, cool.
Would survival be okay?
Survival would make sense as well, yeah.
Okay.
Oh, so close.
Was
That was
it
quite
insight security? Insight security.
Insight and engineering, but security makes a degree of sense as well if you really want to go that way, because it would be within, you know, it would be a safety feature. So a case could be made.
Security?
When I go for 1 or 2 dice.
It's because he's using survival. So 1 dice, please.
Oh, so I couldn't use command.
You could have as well, actually. You know, Lieutenant, you go look there. You go look there. 1 success, nice. So that's 1 overall so far. You've got 3 more dice you can roll, so we're going to need someone to be a primary and 1 other person can help. So Phlesc probably can help them, or Phlesc can take charge. Who knows?
That would have been a success then.
Maybe takes charge since he's got 5 engineering.
Okay. So Connie, if you want to give me 1 dice then. Okay. So if you want, Liz, we can retroactively make yours a success for you using command instead.
Yeah, I would have used command because at least that would have been a 16.
There you go then. So yeah, we'll retroactively call that a success. So we've got 2 so far. So that's your 3 helpers, Mark. If you'd like to roll 2 dice with insight and engineering, please. If we have a Mark. Do we have a Mark? We don't appear to have a Mark. He's either muted himself, or he stepped away from the computer for a little bit. Okay. In order to expedite the situation a whittle bit, I will take charge of Phlesc. Manufacturing would make sense as a focus to use. Let's see what he gets. 2 and a 7, 3, which means you get 5 overall. Nice. Okay, there does appear to be an access panel very close to one of the doors that, if pried open, would allow you access to that intricate network of circuitry that seems to run all through the outside of the structure. It appears to serve just as well, like you already seen examples of as a means of channeling energy through the superstructure in order to power certain things. So that would probably be your best bet. The question is, what would you like to do? Do you want to just put a phaser near it? Would you like to shoot a phaser at it? Would you like to put a comm badge or a tricorder on it? How would you like to go about this?
I think maybe we just try to put a phaser near it for now and see what happens.
Okay. Who wants to sacrifice their phaser then?
I can do it. I'll sacrifice my type 1.
Okay. Your teeny tiny one.
Oh yeah.
Okay. Your cute little button phaser. Basically the size of a USB stick, weren't they, those things? The old cloddy USB sticks anyway. Okay, so yes, taking your Mark 1, so your Type 1, pardon me, phaser, you just kind of put it close to the circuitry, and indeed the circuitry starts to glow, and as soon as you actually attach it, which doesn't take much, you see runnels of power start to run out through the circuitry. In fact, the power is drained out of the phaser pretty quick and starts to filter visibly through the structure. And you can follow the lines as the power is being fed through these angular channels. And that's when something else happens. It seems to be enough to actually kick the monolith itself into life. As all of a sudden, by funneling power into the structure around the monolith, you suddenly get a power spike reading as the monolith itself starts to draw energy from the planet's core, which makes the etchings and the channels along the outside of the monolith glow intently. So yeah, great success. But as you start moving towards the doors, which do hiss open a bit before they get stuck through having 100 millennia worth of grime make their opening a bit of a difficulty, something else actually happens.
Ooh.
As all of a sudden, I'm going to turn that off. A powerful beam of energy shoots out from some kind of emitter that raises up from the superstructure surrounding the monolith. The emitter kind of angles itself at some point in the sky and lets loose this massively powerful beam. The beam is powerful enough that it parts the clouds and creates this kind of blast wave that for a moment displaces enough air that the particulates in the atmosphere get cleared out for a short bit. At which point, you actually hear the following. This is the away team. Away. Yes, away team has activated. Holmes is trapped in a beam is yes. What's the wait? Turning your tricorders to try and get a good old read on what's going on, it seems that the beam has fired and has ensnared the combs. What you're reading is something akin to a gigantic tractor beam, and your tricorders are reading that the tractor beam has snared the combs and it's not exactly dragging it down towards the planet, it's like pulling it back as if it's rearing back for something. And that's when something else bizarre happens. Your tricorders get the energy readings that a second tractor beam-like emission has suddenly locked on to the combs. But this one doesn't appear to be coming from this planet. Its trajectory suggests that it's come from the opposite planet, the larger M-class planet. And now the combs is trapped between two tractor beams that are now playing tug of war with it. And the combs is in very real danger of being pulled apart if something isn't done quick sharp.
Turn it off, turn it off.
Well, the doors are now open to the complex, so you can go in and try and see if you can find out what's going on. But before we get there, we are going to journey back a smidgery of a bit to Tavish and Tavish's efforts to rebuild the Gwicha. So, Dave, if you can do the same as you did before. This time, Chris, can I get you to be Sot?
Yeah, let's have a look.
Dr. Sot should already have what we need chosen, reason and engineering, rolling 1 dice with no focus.
Yeah, I'm just trying to find him.
He is down here. I'm pinging him now.
Yeah, sorry, I'm just trying to get right there.
Got him?
Sorry, what was that?
It's already got them selected.
Okay.
Reason and engineering.
Okay, so 1 task, and any focuses?
No, I'm afraid not. He's a doctor, not an engineer.
Damn it, Chip. Okay, 2 dice.
1 dice, please.
1 dice. Rolling. There we go.
3, which means,
Nice.
yeah, 1 success. Very good. Right, Tavish.
I'm going to use the determination again.
Okay, this is difficulty 3 now rather than 4 because you had a breakthrough. And as a result, Sot has already earned you 1, so you've got to make up the shortfall of 2. If you use a determination, you will have already rolled the necessary to get 2, so...
I'll use a focus as well.
Yep. Cool, much better. Much better. Groovy. Now if I can get you to roll those 7 dice again, please. Nice. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and an effect. So you got 6 in total, which is another breakthrough, which means you achieve another breakthrough on top of that, due to having Miracle Worker, which means you think you've got the ship in such a working order that when you do eventually get power, this thing should kick into life.
Without power, I can't. Yeah, all right. Yeah, that's fine.
So you just need something to kickstart the to field enough power to kickstart the matter-antimatter annihilation process to put the warp core into action.
I will tell the away team that that all the work is done. Just need a power source. But need the power source so I can make sure that all the systems are actually working. And need some time also to do something with the shields as well.
Yes, good point. Probably need to modify the shields. Back. Sorry, go on.
Can we sort of respond and say, can you use one of your phasers as a kickstart? Not shooting it, as a power source.
Let's quickly preface that with...
Yes.
Don't shoot it.
No shooting my ship.
Now, sadly, a weapon will not have enough punch to power the antimatter reactor process. Needs a bit more wallop.
Did Dave want us to come to where they are, seeing as Now we're just basically standing around, doing nothing.
I was going to say, if it's safe for you to meet us, let's all go in.
Cool. Then we'll do that. Sot and Tavish will basically leave the Guicha and will have to hoof it as much as bruised ribs and a slightly woozy head allow, but you will make it there. In the meantime, the other guys, whilst you are waiting for the rest, let me switch you to another map, as you gain the interior. Now, whilst the rest of you guys are waiting for Tavish and Sot to arrive, you do enter into a large reception area. And as power is getting fed through decrepit systems that haven't been activated in some time, what looks like a news hologram report kind of flickers into existence as you pass by a certain point of the grand entrance hall, or at least it used to be a grand entrance hall. And you get the following. This is Alva News Prime. I am Tiani Sho. The debate over the proposed rescue and uplifting of the Oos finally came to a dramatic close this morning. First Minister Mateen Von addressed the crowd outside of the Pentarion after this historic vote. Today, the Roloa Shao people voted with their hearts and with compassion. As I have often said, is it not our responsibility when we see others suffer the morbidities of preventable diseases, the pain of losing loved ones, of children, to malnutrition, starvation and sickness, to lift them out of their squalor and heal them? We have seen with our own eyes, through the use of our technology, that the Oos, our neighbours on our sister planet, suffer and die when we held the means of saving them. For too long we allowed this suffering to continue. And finally, I am pleased to say, the citizens of this great civilization have unanimously voted to lift our brothers and sisters of the Oos up out of the darkness and into the light. Today we embark on an historic mission of mercy to share our wonders with those less fortunate. Specifically, the Oos. And just as we look back on the remnants of our lost history that gave us these marvels, that we might share with others and give thanks, so too will the Oos one day lift up their hearts and voices and thank us, their Roloa Shal brothers and sisters, for the day we decided to bring them with us into a prosperous, shared future. Though the public has unanimously voted in favor of the project to uplift the Oos, some voices of opposition still linger amongst the upper echelons of the scientific community. The most vocal, Dr. Agran of the Veyran Science Institution, had this to say. I am not without compassion to the plight of our Oos neighbours. However, I still advise caution in how much of our science and technology we share. To gift a civilization this early in their development with technology beyond their current level of understanding is a gamble. And mark my words, one day we will meet the consequences of the decision we make today. Regardless of any misgivings amongst the scientific community, the order has been passed down from the Quorum to begin the long process of establishing contact with our Oos neighbours and transporting the needed technological and medical supplies to begin their uplifting. This is Tiani Sho for the Alva News Press. That has given Sot and Tavish time to catch up with you guys as you find yourselves in some form of what looks like security checkpoint. There are now lots of lights and things active and present as consoles start flickering into life. And your commander has gone off by herself and is somewhere over in this direction that I am currently pinging. That's Klingon patience that we've heard so much about. Now, currently, it looks like Hopkins herself is stood in front of a door to some kind of security checkpoint office. that overlooks what look like to be body scanners of some sort on either side. And the door appears to be locked, yes. As Hopkins tries the door, a panel comes up with a bunch of runic keys. They appear to be some form of keypad, requesting an access code for entry. What would you like to do?
Does the door look blastable?
The door does look blastable, yes.
Does it look hackable?
It could also be hackable.
Let's go for the non-destructive
Yeah,
method.
yeah.
So in a reactor. Some kind of unknown power system reactor.
Alright then. Everybody moving up. I'll bring Dr. Sott. Oops, it is.
Sorry, that's...
Everybody selected. Buzzkill. Let's move folks back to where they were going to be. Let's move Sott up by here. Okay. Yeah, it seems that Hopkins is busy trying this door here, and that's when an alarm goes off.
Oh,
Bop, 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 bop. And red lights now fill the place as it seems that Hopkins has triggered some kind of security alert.
What was that about? Not touching anything?
Mm-hmm. And then, out of a pair of kind of sealed ports inside of the walls by here that are glowing, the ports iris open and large spherical devices kind of roll forth and land on the ground. As they do, they kind of unfurl, and as they unfurl, they grow legs, and what looks like some kind of railgun apparatus emerges on the back, as you appear to have activated a very, very old security device. And you've
Where's the
activated the
computer?
guards.
Oh, good.
Hack it. Hack it, Tavish.
So, this activates combat, which means if I can direct your attentions, shrugs. If I can direct your attentions to the combat encounter, or the combat tracker, I should say. On the right-hand column, there is an icon that is a pair of crossed swords. When you hover over it, it says Combat Encounters. When you press it, you get basically the initiative. And if you want to bring that out, you can right-click on the crossed swords icon, and you get a little mini window that you can resize, and not resize exactly, but you can at least reposition elsewhere to put it in places to keep track of who's when in the initiative order. Usually, with things like this, one of you goes, one of they go, one of you goes, one of they go, etc. So, I don't think I can reorder. We can just basically begin combat and see who wants to go first. So, who does want to go first out of you lot?
I got no encounter showing on mine.
Oh.
So, you've got nothing in the combat tracker at all? No encounter?
Nope.
Okay. Could you try reloading for me briefly, Chris? Does everybody else see an encounter in the combat tracker? Combat encounter?
yes, I see
yep.
round one.
Yes.
Reloading.
And it looks like it's localized to just yourself, Chris, so try again.
Should have Hopkins go first, as she set them off.
Sure. Let's activate Hopkins then. Hopkins can make a move as a fast action. You can move anywhere within the same zone. This whole place counts as a zone. To draw a weapon, you're going to need to use another quick action, which you can do by spending a point of momentum. Otherwise,
I
you're
wonder
going to
what
be
you can
hitting
do.
this thing with your fists.
Yeah, she's gonna hit it with her bat lift.
Hit it with the battle, so you're going to need to spend a point of momentum to draw it. Okay, and you can make a slow action to actually attack it, which is going to be daring and security. But because this is melee combat, this means the security droid also gets to use daring and security.
Determination of never back down.
So the security droid only got one. Not backing down from a challenge, okie dokie do. You got a 1 and a 1 and a 7, so 5 successes overall means that you definitely won, which means that you can roll for damage on your batleth, please. You got 7 and 4 effects, so the thing has got armor, so it'll take 1 off of those, meaning 6 successes. 4 effects for a batleth is vicious, which means you can add an extra 1, 2, 3, 4 damage for 10, essentially. Good lord, you eviscerate the thing in one go. You smash it to smithereens.
Oh yeah, and then check to see if I get my determination back.
Yes, indeed, you do. You get your determination back. Nicely done. That's you done. Now let's activate one of these guys. The other security droid sees what just happened, and let's see, someone's trying to break into the security office while someone attacking one of the others. What am I going to use? Ooh, let's ask you to step away from the... Let's ask Tavish to step away from the security panel. Blablam, 1 success, needed 2, so that's a shot that misses Tavish by inches. Meanwhile, the droid is just going to clatter up next to Phlesc, and that's the droid done. Who's next out of your lot? Garrow would make sense, since he's the security officer.
You might need to take control of mine because I'm still having trouble getting back into it.
Okay, that's fine. Does Garrow want to use fisticuffs, or does Garrow want to use phaser?
I'm going to say phaser on this one.
Cool. So this is going to require a control and security roll. Can I get somebody else to do this then? Connie, based on how well this is going so far, you might not get the chance to fight. Actually, let's go with Mark. Just in case Connie does get a chance to fight.
Oh, okay. So, Garrow using...
Control and security with a focus of phasers. Are you using the Type 2 phaser or the Type 3?
Well, Type 3, surely.
Well, alright then!
Go for it.
Difficulty 2
Okay,
to
so-
hit.
Focus is... Control security, did you say there was a focus?
Yes, please.
Yeah. And should I take a momentum as we have 6?
Entirely up to you.
Anyone
Chris,
else
do you think-
disagree?
Chris, do you want to have another momentum added?
Yep, go for it.
Alrighty.
Right, 3 dice, let's blow it.
Now it's loading back in, but
Yeah, I got you. 4 successes! Which means, Chris, that you can roll damage for your Type 3 phaser.
okay. Yes. Yeah, okay. Yep. So that means I need to go into.
Your character sheet. Find your Type 3
okay.
phaser. Hover over the image for it. It'll turn into a dice. Click the dice.
Hang on. It's a tricorder.
Yes. The tricorder does no damage, sadly, unless you fling it at somebody. 7 and 2 effects. You didn't use a charge, so it's going to be accurate. That's fine. You didn't need to use accurate because you got 4 successes, so it's going to be 7 minus its armor, which means 6, which means that shot was heavy and did a good deal of damage to it, but didn't fall it. Didn't fell it, rather, I should say. So you used a quick action to draw your phaser rifle, you used a slow action to actually fire it. That's all Garrow can do for now. Who wants to go next? Does Neshlal want to get into a fisticuffs with the security droid?
I mean, it looks like physical attacks work better. I'm gonna get in there and try to rip it apart.
Nice. Neshlal can use a fast action to close the distance, and can then use a slow action to do daring and security. Because this is hand-to-hand combat, the droid is going to get 2 dice to do the same. I get 1 success again. Neshlal gets... Has she got hand-to-hand combat? Yes, she does. So you get to add a focus.
No, but Hopkins did.
Whoa, 2 successes. Very good. Which means you get to roll unarmed strike for damage. You did 2. It takes 1 off because of the armor, so yeah, you Neshlal dives and gives a diving elbow to the thing, but she just flesh met metal. Ultimately, flesh did a dent, but flesh still goes out. Who's next out of your lot?
Come on, let's all gang up. Do it.
Give the thing a thorough kicking. Right, so we've got Dr. Sott, Lieutenant Phlesc, and Lieutenant Tavish left to go. Who wants to go next?
I just rolled a bit, so... Tavish?
Dave, do you want to do something?
I'm going to try and hack this security system.
Okay, so we're activating Tavish. Cool beans. That's going to be a daring and engineering with focus on computers. I'm not going to tell you what the difficulty is. 1401 is 2 successes, which means you got exactly what I wanted you to get. The door slides open. Why is it doing the door chime? Interesting. That's not a little glitch. I must have tagged the door chime. You can now move, yes. This counts as its own zone, so you can move into there.
Can I see any security alert?
Yes, you can. Pretty much all the consoles in here are lit up red with a security alert.
Okay.
But you can't do anything more about it because you've just used your actions.
Okay.
Would Phlesc like to go next?
Ooh. Let's shoot it. I don't fancy having fisticuffs with it.
Okey-dokes. That's a control and security check with a difficulty of 2. Ooh.
Parent figure? Oh, parent figure. Oh no.
Parent figure. Okay, so parent figure means that there's no complication, but it does mean that as Phlesc fumbles to get his phaser out, sadly, he aims a little too low and gets nothing. Which leaves us with Dr. Sott. What would we like Dr. Sott to do? Try his phaser, try his fists, what do we think?
I think Dr. Sott has to stick with his phaser for now.
Alrighty. So, let's see then. Chris, since you didn't get to do it last time, can you access Dr. Sott's character sheet for me?
Yep.
And give me a control and security check. Difficulty 2, and needless to say, he's got no focuses, so control and security, please.
Okay, 2 dice.
2 dice, please.
Okay.
Oh, no.
Oh.
Unsurprisingly, the science, the medical and ops officers are not so good. They need to go back to the phaser range, it seems. Alright, so that guy has been dead and gone, which means we move to the next round, which means Hopkins has been reactivated. Running in with a bat'leth. I mean, she could surprise me. It could be another phaser, or it could be a fisticuffs, but I'm getting the feeling it's going to be Batleth.
Go on, Commander.
So this is going to be daring and security if you're using the Batleth, please. Oh, excuse me. Liz, you with us? Yep, there you go. 7 and 10 is 4 successes. Well, good grief. Now I gotta roll the security droid. To see it do the same thing. How many do I get? Only 2, so yes. Roll damage for the Batleth, please. Seven successes, 1 effect, which means you can do 8 damage in total, which means you smash that thing into little bits. Nicely done. Alright, the door is open, the security droids are done.
Problem.
Okay, so the security droids have been dealt with, and Tabish has opened the security doors to allow you access into the next section.
Any of you touch anything, I'm just gonna stop.
Scan first.
And you can fix it yourself.
So, what are you doing?
Tavish is going to try and, well, I guess the security alarms are still going off.
Yes.
Alright, I'm going to hack into the system and try and turn the security alarms off and, well, get access to the system, turn the security alarms off. And then probably get a map of the facility we're in.
Cool. Control and science. No, control and engineering, please.
Computers. Let's focus.
Sure, since you're using that to access the everything else. Yeah, that makes sense. 6 was what I envisioned, and you get 1 extra, so that goes into momentum. Cool. The layout is pretty extensive, this place. The monolith itself appears to be sat in a very large chamber, which seems to have been hooked up to distribute power from coming off of the monolith into other parts of the superstructure. This doesn't necessarily mean that it aren't individually powered sections of the facility, but it seems that the excuse me again, sorry, my voice is breaking. Hopefully that's cleared it. So, according to the schematics, you've got another couple of doors to go through before you reach the primary chamber with the monolith. If you can get to the monolith, then you might be able to use the systems in that central chamber to power down the system and therefore take out the tractor beam that is holding the cones in place. Interestingly enough, the security system. The security alert that's been activated suggests that as intruders you were assumed to be members of the US, and therefore a certain type of security alert designated as US infiltration has been triggered. Therefore the majority of the facility has gone on to secure lockdown, which explains why it responded to you just beating a locked door with security droids intent on shooting you. You've got enough security access to open every door from here to the main chamber, but there appear to be layers of additional security tied in with that room that would only be able to be disabled if you were in the main chamber. So what would you like to
Just
do?
disable what we can? Well, Hopkins, you want to try and hack the rest of it from where you are?
Shouldn't need hacking. The doors are open. Unless you want to look for anything specific in the computer systems.
Can we find out how many droids they are from here to the main chamber?
None.
None. How many security measures are there?
That, unfortunately, seems to be corrupted because when you try and access it, it gives a bit of garbled static back.
Okay.
Can we change the security profile they've given us to
Not oops.
friendly? Not groups, yeah. So we're detected as high clearance, friendly.
You can certainly try the friendly thing from here to the main chamber, but the main chamber, it seems, has its own isolated security system.
Is that isolated security system at the main chamber?
Yes.
Okay. So yeah, let's
Get on with it. Okay. Yes. Move on into the facility.
So we don't want to.
yeah, I was
so-
going to say make us friendly first.
Yes.
Yeah, so we don't trigger anything else. Yeah, make it friendly.
Even though Hopkins is now proceeding out of the door of this main security chamber. And back she comes. And are you sure it's a good idea to be out there before we're made friendly? There we go. Just
Yeah, no more droids to be destroyed.
Alright then. So let's see, you guys have already repaired most of that. You've got that going. Right. The energy signatures you're getting out at the moment from the monolith are building in intensity, so it seems like this place is, or at the very least the monolith itself is powering up. But yes, your passage from here to the main chamber has been cleared of locked doors and the like, but as I have noted extensively, the main chamber itself has its own isolated security system. So in order to take care of that, you're going to have to find your way there yourselves. That's where we go next. Just find... yeah. Wade Batleth around. Sadly, no more droids to be. Just waving it in the air. Anybody want some? Anybody? Anybody want a Batleth to the face? Any takers? No takers? Oh. Alright.
Totally not also have her Bruce Ribs.
So we eventually get to a larger part of the facility, and the power readings coming here from the monolith are getting to be pretty high on the grand scale of things. You now find yourselves within a very large part of the facility. There's a lot of bits of equipment strewn about the place, but the majority of the energy signals seem to be coming from the central chamber. You have a number of lesser rooms with windows so that you can see inside of them. This one appears to be some kind of control room, maybe. This hatch here seems to suggest some kind of docking port. This seems to be some kind of supplies, you think.
Where's the supplies? Here.
Should we scan for security measures within this chamber?
Yes.
Where's the security?
This seems
This
to be
has it-
some form of control booth, but you can't be entirely certain.
In the supplies, can we see any power conduits? Spare power conduits and cables to repair.
You would have to go in and have a good old look.
If this is the thingy, I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go and check this system first to find out if this is security and what's about.
Alright, so that's what you're doing. Phlesc is looking about for something that can be used as a battery. What are the rest of you doing? Gurkow, Hopkins, Garrow. If you're unsure, then you can always join one of the others. You can always join Phlesc in finding more batteries. You can join Tavish in trying to find out what this station controls. Of course, you can always pass through this clean room and see what's on the other side. If you
Who's brave enough to go scan that?
Oh.
Big surprise.
I'm gonna go and search for some batteries, I think.
Okay, so that's this room over here. Hopkins is proceeding through that temporary clean room.
I'll check the console.
Yep, emerges into this immense space where the monolith itself, contrary to what you're being shown here, actually rises up from that central part and goes up through the ceiling. The monolith very much comprised of the same materials that you've seen before, but it is pulsating with power. So it seems that they built this facility very much around the monolith, and these walkways are the only way to get at the monolith. These seem to be some kind of large part combination locking clamps, but they also seem to be drawing energy from the monolith. Now, when you guys entered, I'm going to stop you all moving about too much, just to give you this. When you guys entered into this area, or when you were partway between the security checkpoint and entering into the central chamber, you did trigger another hologram. When this one triggered, it seemed to show somewhat more frantic scenes. This is Tiani Show with an urgent news report. Just moments ago, the asteroid defense system on our neighboring world 5 Turns began to hurl astral debris at our planet. What was at first assumed to be a catastrophic malfunction has since been revealed to be deliberate, as Chief Malagra of the Cortan Spear tribe, the de facto leader of the Oos, sent the following message. Know us shall. I am Chief Malagre, and I am here to declare that you are not gods. You came here with your magic, your medicines, and your technology. You offer to pollute our people with your gifts, and claim you are here to help. But we see the truth. You seek to supplant our gods with yourselves. Bring us to our knees and have us worship you. You seek to take what makes us pure, what makes us strong, and change us to be more like you. We will never be like you. And for your arrogance, we deliver Cortan's vengeance upon you. Your own foul devices turn towards your destruction. And when your cities are ashes and dust, know that the Oos shall remain strong and pure, the instruments of Cortan's will made manifest. For we are the spear in Cortan's right hand. Praise Cortan, and ever praise. The transmission ceases. Meanwhile, let's see. Garrow was in with Phlesc looking for what could be construed as batteries. Whereas Tavish is having a look at these security systems. From what Tavish can tell, the systems that you are accessing appear to be power monitoring systems. The monolith has definitely been hooked up to supply power that seems to branch out across the entire planet. This entire facility seems dedicated to powering the entire civilization that occupied this planet. The monolith itself is kicked back into action, but also seems to have activated that strange security protocol with the tractor beams. So, in order to try and... Actually, no, before I go and say anything like that, what would you like to do?
I don't really want to power down systems. Seeing as that we are in this facility, and I have no idea if this is going to trap Hopkins in the main chamber. I would like to probably see what systems would shut down, or seeing if I could shut down individual systems to try and stop the tractor beam.
Okay.
Like, reduce the power.
Yeah, yeah, that's what I'm pretty much saying. Reduce the power, but I'm only trying to. I'm not trying to do it. I'm just trying to see if it's safe to do, with trying to keep the rest of the crew safe as well.
Oh, okie dokie. Can I get you to give me a reason and engineering check, please? While that's going on, could I also get Garrow and Phlesc? Hold on. Hold on to that, Dave. Don't let go of it. I just want to do something with Phlesc and Garrow very, very quickly. You guys are looking for power packs, so I would like insight and engineering or insight and science from Garrow and Phlesc, please. What was you going to say, Dave? Sorry.
Focus on power systems.
Yeah.
That was always going.
Yep.
Trying to find where I am.
You are
I'm going to roll
here.
dice.
2 dice for you, since you're on your own in a separate command console. 2 and 15 is 3 successes for Tavish. Very nice. I'll get back to what that means in just a moment. As far as Garrow and Phlesc are concerned,
Sorry, what was that? I need control and...
right, so what did I say? Insight and engineering. So I don't know if Phlesc wants to go as the major and Garrow as the assistant.
Yeah. Insight, engineering, electroplasma power systems. I guess that's too specific. No. Okay, so no focuses, just 2. We roll.
Yep. So can I get 1 dice from Garrow, please?
I don't need... I don't have any focuses for that.
No.
Okay. Oh. There you go.
1, so 3 in all. Okay, that's good. Right then, where is Hopkins and what is she doing? The answer is no, it's very definitely defunct. It hasn't worked in very, very long time. There's evidence that maybe the craft was getting ready to be used, but for some reason or other they never got around to finishing the job, and so it was just left here to rot. Gurkow also has access to another security station, but we'll get to what that means in just a moment as we put together what Tavish, Phlesc, and Garrow discovered. Mostly Tavish to start with. So, looking to try and power the thing down from where it is safe to disengage the tractor beam. You think that if you disengaged the power clamps, you would be able to disengage the primary power that's feeding into the tractor beam. But you'd also be pulling the primary power that makes the entire facility function. Now, thankfully, the sophisticated technology of the monolith that these people based their technology upon should have a residual enough charge to have some power remaining to do other stuff. But for the most part, disabling the tractor beam is going to require taking the clamps that draw power away from the monolith, taking the clamps offline. To do that, you need to disable each of the clamps individually, one at this station and one at the other 3 stations similar to it. What else was it? But for those who want to try and get power out of batteries, you are going to also need to grab the batteries that you found, which Garrow and Phlesc have done, and have to plug them into the systems here in order to draw power enough to fill up the batteries. You are going to need to fill 4 batteries with enough charge to reawaken the I can't find the words. What's the name of the actual craft again? The Guicha. I completely forgot the name of the ship. So if you want enough power to kickstart the Guicha, you're going to need power batteries, 4 filled power batteries.
Right, so disabling the clamps is the last thing we do then?
Potentially.
Charging the... yeah. Charging the batteries is probably...
something that maybe should start with.
Yeah, priority. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right, let's lug some batteries.
Okay, so Phlesc and Garrow have found one apiece in this area. If you can find a similar area, you might be able to raid it for more batteries.
Right, I will go and have a look in other areas.
Dr. Sott is going to elect to remain behind here, just in case he might be needed to flip a switch. Meanwhile, Phlesc is heading out to one of these areas. Garrow, so Chris, if you want to gain control of Garrow and follow Mr. Phlesc out into the central part of the chamber.
It seems my come on, move. Okay, it looks like I can have to restart again.
Okay.
Okay.
I will move Garrow myself.
Yep. So it's
That's cool. When Garrow and Phlesc attach their batteries to the inputs, or the outputs, I should say, a message comes up on the nearby panels asking for authorization. And there's a countdown. 5, 4, 3,
Take them out.
2, 1. Where are you? Where's Tavish?
Tavish
All the way
is,
up there, so you're no help.
Right.
Security
okay.
alert. Beep. Beep.
I didn't do it this time!
A pair of metallic spheres unfurl from a side compartment, and they level their railguns at the 2 characters in the central area. So once again, I'm throwing you all into... Whoa, maybe I didn't because we just focused in on Liz there, so let me grab folks. Put them into initiative. Anyone over here? Nope. We will leave Dr. Sott for now. We will put Garrow and Phlesc in initiative. We will put Gurkow and this security bot into initiative. And where's Tavish? There she is. Groovy. Did I get everybody?
Yeah, sorry, I'm still.
That's cool. Actually, I will put Sot in just in case. I want him to do something with the console he's on. So the security system seems to think that you are saboteurs of some variety. It is sending security droids to stop you. So, who wants to go first out of you lot? Now. Go on.
I think if I can, rather than get into combat, can I use the console instead to try and disable all the droids and security protocols?
You can certainly try and use the console to do something, yes.
Then I think for now, just to disable the security droids.
Okay, which means you're going to need to gain access to the security system first, so we can start there. Alright, so let's begin this, and Connie wants to lead the charge by not charging and instead trying to turn the dang things off.
Yeah.
So this will require trying to gain access to the security system, so this speaks to a degree of hacking, which suggests daring and science, with a focus on computers, computer hacking, computer programming, anything like that. Which, if you did the reading...
Oh, then I could apply any focus.
Indeed.
So... yes. I'll use the reading.
Okay.
Get some focus on the fly. So I'm going to spend a point of momentum.
Okay.
Now, daring and science. Okay, let's go.
Ba-bam! Not bad. One success. You think you've got rudimentary access to the security system, but it's throwing up a number of other gated challenges that you have to get past first in order to try and access the on-off button for the security system. So you're in past one level of security, you've got to get into more. You've got to get past more.
Okay.
In the meantime, one of them goes next, which means I will go for this security droid down here, who scuttles along, draws a bead on Garrow, and is going to let fly with a shot from its back laser. Pew! 2 successes, which means it hits. So for purposes of this exercise, I will use... So, the creature uses a blaster. I got 2 successes, which means it does... 2 effects, 2 successes. Garrow takes 2 stress. Doesn't necessarily mean he was hit. Maybe it hit the console and blew sparks next to his head, made him swear a little bit. He now is very, very aware he's under fire, and he's not holding a weapon. Garrow's holding a battery that he was hoping to plug in. So the situation isn't exactly nominal at the moment. Right, who wants to go next out of you lot?
What's the section, or the zones?
Right, that's a good point. Every room counts as its own zone, so every time you leave a room and go into another room, that means you have crossed from one zone into another. With a quick action, you can move into a zone. If you want to move into multiple zones, you're going to have to spend momentum to do another quick action. The central room counts as its own zone.
So, what?
You might need to spend a momentum to move into the central room. Because you're going to need to cross 2 zones. Or you're going to need to get 1 of the 2 zones, yeah.
Luckily, I still have my back left.
So, Hopkins wants to go next? I take it? Yes? Let's go with yes.
Go for it.
So, Hopkins can move into this zone as a freebie, but if you want to move into the central zone, you're going to have to spend a momentum, which you've already done.
We were at 5 to begin with.
Oh, you were at 5 to begin with. Okay, yeah, cool. Pardon me.
Yeah. Can I take a momentum to kill droids?
Yep, go for it.
She enters, and then immediately goes for this one. It's the same thing.
Whoops, I didn't mean to ping. Going for... So Hopkins basically comes charging out, and it's just a blur. A Klingon-shaped blur as she goes streaking past and runs right into the next security droid. So it's going to be daring and security, as you well know, 1 success. So let's see how I do with the other one. I get 1 success, which means it's a draw, so it whips out kind of like a metallic tendril with a bit of a shocker, a cattle prod kind of electrified prong at the end, so you both battle back and forth, but no one manages to gain the upper hand in that regard. It's now that security droid's turn next, so it's going to do the same. It's going to continue to engage Hopkins, which means Hopkins can once again roll daring and security in hand to hand. I get 1, which seems to be my consistent roll thus far.
Yeah, let's not use my determination yet.
You get 3 successes, which means you win the exchange, so you can roll for battle damage. And because you got 2 over, you get those momentum back. 7 successes, 1 effect. Vicious means you do 1 extra, so that means it takes 7. So you manage to, as it goes for a lunge, you take advantage of its opening and bring your bat'leth down, smashing a huge chunk out of its torso, and so it's beginning to spark and judder a bit, but it's still active. Who wants to go next? We've got Garrow, we've got Tavish, we've got Sop, we've got Phlesc left.
Okay, I'm gonna try and take a shot at the whatever thing tries to
Shoot you. Okay, so it's a quick action to draw a. Now, because you're carrying a battery, are you just letting go of the battery?
I'm just gonna put it down. Yeah.
Okay, that will give you. You are going to need to use. It's going to be like a quick action to put it down carefully rather than drop it.
Yeah.
So then you're going to need another quick action to draw a weapon. So you're going to need to use a point of momentum to draw a weapon.
Yep. As soon as
No problem. I take it
Sorry,
you're going with the big rifle then?
Yep.
Alrighty.
I'm trying to. Come on, give me my character sheet.
I'll take the momentum away then, don't worry about that. Yes. Character sheet. If it can come
Yeah,
up.
I'm trying. It's not coming up.
Okay. May have lost connection, or it's just delayed. You are connected.
Yeah. Come on. Ah, there we go.
Yeah,
Fine.
just taking a little bit of time to get there, that's all.
Okay, sorry.
Control and security, please.
Control. Security. I've got phases there, so.
Yes, you do, so that's a focus you can apply. Difficulty of this is 2.
Okay, so complication range I can put it to.
Complication range you can leave alone.
Okay. Yeah, so 2 dice.
2 dice, yes please. Wabam! That was almost not a success, but it was a success. Baboosh. Roll damage.
Okay, take 3 phases.
It's a lot of dice. 6 successes. Overall, -1 is 5. So that was a glancing shot, but you did manage to take out some of the leg and one of the legs and some of the upper torso, so it is damaged. Who wants to go next? Tavish, Sot, Phlesc. I'm gonna nominate someone if nobody speaks up. Yep, okay.
Mark,
Yeah,
did
sure.
you want to go next? Because you're in that room.
Yeah, I don't mind having a shot because
Phlesc.
I was kind of hoping you can try and deactivate them if you get to a room with a console.
Yeah, I mean, it's up to you. I can go to a room with a console first if you want.
Yeah, I think getting
Okay.
control help
Alright.
either a separate room or helping out Gurkha. But I'll take a pot shot at the partially damaged droid. This one.
Oh, you are going. Okay. Righty ho. So again, that's going to be if you want to put the battery down carefully. That's a quick. If you want to draw a weapon, that's another quick. So you are going to have to spend a point of momentum to draw a weapon.
Yep, I'll spend a point more momentum to draw a weapon, so I don't just
Rudy.
drop the battery down.
Control and security, please.
Control and security.
Difficulty 2 because you're using a ranged weapon. Oops.
And I go to the parent figure.
Yes.
So I'm just going to miss.
So, the good news is it's just a plain old miss. It targeted the wrong creature because I teleported to. There we go. So Hopkins has to duck as a phaser shot goes over her head.
Hey, hit the droid, not me.
That means Tavish's go is next.
Okay, I'm going to go to where Lieutenant Gurkha is.
So that's you're going to need to spend a point of momentum to move 2 places.
Yep, that's fine.
Nice. But you will still have your slow action to do something with the computers once you get there.
Sorry, it will not allow me.
There you go. So, let's see. I said that it was daring and science to hack into the computers, so it's going to be daring and science for Tavish. But she's got to focus on computers, so it should be okay. Difficulty I'll keep to myself. 2 successes. Alright, you are past the next level of security protocols. The final one is within your grasp. You just need to get there first. Is there anything you want Dr. Sott to do?
I can't even see him, so I don't know where
He's
he is.
in one of the other console rooms. He's very much a case of, is everything alright, guys? Guys?
I think I'm sure the Dr. Sott is good at science.
Yeah?
So why not try and, I mean, even though he's at a different console, see if he can try and do exactly the same me and Gurkha have done.
Okay.
If it's insight and science is great, thanks.
He's probably going to be using daring and science is the thing, because this is fighting against a computer. But Connie, if you want to take charge of Dr. Sott in that case,
Yeah.
You got this, Connie.
see if he can penetrate the 3rd and final security firewall.
Okay.
The answer is not quite. Okay, so the good news is he's managed to actually get through the next level of security, but he's not had the time to actually implant a command to say stop yet. So that can happen next turn. So now we are back on round 2. Which one of you lot is going first?
Tavish?
Yeah.
Which is just as well because I'm adding more droids as they spool out of the walls.
Ooh, now this is a challenge.
So you want me to do the same? Daring, science.
Well,
with
hang on,
focus?
it's Tavish going first. Okay, so let's activate Tavish. Daring and science to try and shut down the security protocol. Yes, please. This is going to be difficulty 3.
Can I spend the momentum, please? Nice.
What do you think, guys?
Go for it.
Go
Yeah.
for it.
Right, I will put myself up to 3 dice. hopefully we don't get a complication.
2 successes, I said you needed 3.
Yep.
Okay, so unfortunately the system is fighting back. It's not allowing you access to the deactivation protocol. It's not making it easy. And that doesn't mean somebody else can't try. So next up is this security droid, which scuttles across the walkway in order to lend a better shot at Garrow. So it's going to have a go. Control security, point blank range isn't going to make much of a difference either way. It's still difficulty 2. I get 3 successes. So the laser blaster that it's armed with does all of 1. Further point of stress inflicted on Garrow as a shot rings past him. Very, very close this time. Who of you lot wants to go next?
I think I'll go next and try to do
Cool.
it myself.
Yep, same as before then.
Sorry. Can I use my Starcross to score 2 successes for any die?
Sure. If you think this situation warrants it, then absolutely go for it.
Yeah, something to really get it done.
Starcross. Once permission before attempting a task and applying a focus, the character may choose to double their focus range. So you'll get 2 dice, twice your discipline score. So in this case, yeah, anything of a roll of 8 or under is 2 successes.
Okay.
So, hi ho! Ooh, hello! 4 successes.
No.
Ooh.
Gurkow basically grits her teeth, flexes her fingers, goes in and hammers out some more quick computer hacking code, at which point she strikes the enter key or the equivalent thereof, and the security system powers down. And the security droids, they just kind of curl up into a sphere and just sit there. Phew! Well done. So all that remains now is to complete what you were doing. So, because you're no longer under duress, what you can now do is Phlesc and Garrow, and maybe Hopkins as well, helping out, maybe Gurkow too, can find 4 batteries in total, plug them into each of the feed ports on these sections and draw enough power so that you can kickstart the Guicha when you go back to it. What's left, of course, is to deactivate the tractor beams. And you think that if you modify a pulse to go along the emitters, you can send one last blast of power along the tractor beam and maybe overload the other tractor beam on the other side, from the other planet. Which will take a little bit of work to do, but not too much. In the meantime, something flickers to another set of holograms, flicker to life in the main chamber, seemingly activated completely by accident. Perhaps as you were busy hacking your way through the security systems. It seems to show a scene that was recorded, one of the last scenes recorded by the security sensors before everything basically went to hell, wherever this is. You recognize the face of the doctor who was speaking out against the proposed program of giving technology to the nearby Oos. The others in attendance are one humanoid canid who appears to be wearing tussled robes of office, and another who is wearing what would equivalent to military gear. The general, the military general, is flicking through sheafs of paper attached to a clipboard. And the report seems to go thus. It's not good. Reports are confirmed. The OOS basically hijacked their end of the gravity bridge and turned the asteroid deflection system into a weapon. They started hurling asteroids from the asteroid field at our planet. They knocked out the majority of our defensive systems, but we think that if we utilize our systems to do the same thing, we can start responding in kind. The minister speaks up. How could this have gone so wrong? We were helping these people. Why did they suddenly turn on us? We gave them medicines, technologies. You'd think they'd have been at the very least grateful, not this. Which point the scientist, I'm saying still with the filter on my voice. I warned you. The OOS were not ready. We could have introduced ourselves maybe over a long period of time and made sure that they were prepared for what we were about to give them. Instead, we jumped the gun. Our hearts were in the right place, Minister. We just were too eager, too fast. And now asteroids are being rained down on our world. This is an extinction-level event, Minister, General. We're not going to survive what comes next. At the very least, we'll take them with us. And the hologram. Oops. I keep forgetting to turn that off. And the hologram fizzles out. Now, eventually, you are able to fill the batteries up to capacity. And then you are able to begin the process of declamping these power conduits, as they were, all these power drawing bits of technology from the monolith. And when you do, the consoles and all the lighting in the room begins to go dark one after the other. There's a degree of power remaining in the superstructure itself, which is being used as like kind of backup emergency power, but it is slowly being drained, which gives you enough time to leave this facility along with the batteries. Was there anything you wanted to do before you left?
How big is the sentry droids?
The sentry droids, they're equivalent in size and mass to a standard humanoid. They're made from pretty hefty. They're made from an interesting kind of alloys, it seems, that gives them armor, but also gives them a good deal of lightness of movement. They look as if they're shorter, but that's because they're scuttling about on 4 legs. They're not standing fully up. You reckon if they did stand up, it would be about the same height as Hopkins herself?
Are there any smaller versions of these batteries that we've got?
Not that you've been able to find.
Or portable?
Okay. That would require time to keep looking.
Oh. No, not gonna keep around.
So, can I keep one? Well, I'm sure Dr. Taliaferro would really like something to be brought back as proof of what went on.
Can I have the power source from one?
Ooh.
You can grab power source from somewhere else, and Hopkins will pick up this one.
So there is
Like,
this
you can have
one
the power source.
over here.
If I've got time, I will sneak away with the power source from that one.
Now, luckily for you, Garrow's phaser rifle round breached most of this one's outer casing, so you can get at the internal gubbins easy enough to rip out its power source, yes.
Cool. That's what I'll do before running out.
Do
Oh,
Garrow,
just walk it
Tavish... Sorry. Do Garrow, Tavish, or Gurkha want to do anything before they leave?
far as I'm aware, not really.
Okay.
Can I download the recordings of the holograms?
Yep.
Please.
Ooh, good idea.
Yep, no problem. Easy enough done. Okay.
Hopkins wants a little droid pit.
Yes, Connie.
For me, I think I'd like Gurkha to download or research about the monoliths and the compositions.
Neato.
Of
Luckily, you seem to be in a facility dedicated pretty much to study of the monolith, so finding that information, especially after you penetrated all the layers of security, is not difficult. And yes, it will require many hours of poring over, but hey, you're the chief science officer. This is what you do. You might even enjoy it, I don't know.
I've been lured by I don't know, even at the core of the monolith before, so I'm more invested than one.
Good point, yes. You were lured, as you say before. Cool. Alright, so some of you have going back with bits of tech, some of you are going back with information data. So you do make your way back, trudging through the weather outside back to the Gweed Shah, and it's time to see how well you can get the Gweed Shah up and working again. So you eventually do, of course, depower the monolith. So it's almost sad in its own way. As you're walking away from the monolith, you can see the kind of like the actinic blue glow of the circuitry inside of the monolith start to fade, along with the glow from the facility itself. As you walk away, you gave the place a brief flash of life after 100,000 years of nothingness, but now it's returning back to its dormant state. You all eventually make your way back to the Gweed Shah, and with a bit of finger crossing, it's time to plug in the power systems and give the warp core a kick to get it up and working again. So, let's see if you manage it. This is going to be an engineering-related task. You can either use daring or control and engineering, depending on how gung-ho you want to be with this.
I will definitely assist. I will do daring and engineering, and those are higher for me, but I will assist.
Okay.
Do we want to spend a momentum, or not, to try and use the momentum to escape? Question to the team.
Good question. Spend it now to make sure you get it activated, or spend it later just in case something goes wrong?
I say don't use it. I mean, we've got two, haven't we? So
Yeah.
let's go for it. Let's use the momentum.
Go for it. Okay.
Yeah.
What was that, sorry, Connie?
Who's using them?
Might even get it back, as I say.
Yeah, sure.
Who's using the momentum? Are you going to use it?
No, I think you should, because you've got a 12 and a 5, whereas I'm rolling with a 10 and a 5.
Okay.
So you're better placed. I'm just assisting.
Focus on power systems.
Oh yeah.
Go for it. I will keep the difficulty to myself for the moment, just to add a bit of extra tension. 3, 7, 9, 17 and 9. Very, very good. With extra assistance there, which means you got 2 back. Very good. There is a shunt. There is a donk as things fall back into place. There is a shudder as the warp core starts up, and then it begins a nice, steady, pulsing glow.
Before we fly off, can I put a program into the shields?
Yes, you were going to modify the shields to shield it from the weather?
Yeah. Because what brought us down was the fact that we...
Yes.
What was it? Became too positive?
Pretty much, yeah. You built up a hell of a number of positive ions, and so you want to...
Yeah.
Basically depolarize your
yeah.
your hull.
Yes.
All right then, that's no problem. That's easy. That's easy enough for someone of your skill. So the ship goes. Its power comes back on, and you are able to reinitialize the engines. The power systems, as a result, can now be replaced where needed, so replicatable EPS conduits and whatever the wiring is called, conduits I suppose, can be installed sufficiently and safely enough, although Hopkins is rather alarmed to find that there's an interesting number of consoles that have been ripped out and their wires, well, rewired in very interesting ways that kind of dazzle the brain just to look at. However, you are able to kick engines back into gear, and off into the skies you are able to proceed. As you power the impulse engines to achieve enough thrust to leave the atmosphere, there's a sudden surge warning as the weapons system registers an overload. A spark and a bang, and your weapon systems burn out. Or the control systems for the weapon systems burn out. Possibly as a result of that finicky wiring that Tavish. What did you do to the ship?
Fix it, so we can get off the planet. If you've got a problem with that, talk to the captain.
We probably will if we run into something.
Thankfully, though, it doesn't seem to be a problem with the engines, or the shields, which does allow you to leave orbit. And sure enough, safely enough, all things considered, everyone is able to get back on board the cones.
Yeah, we can take a look at those weapon systems later.
Yes.
Hopkins just comes in carrying her new sentry droid.
So that can be taken down to the science labs or wherever to be examined. But of course, you're also now it seems pretty much the only witnesses to what may have actually gone on down on the planet.
All relative information going back to the captain.
Indeed. The captain very much thinks that it's time to leave the system, since you have investigated the Trojan planets. They've been found to both be devoid of life. It seems that pretty much the situation that you uncovered on the holographical records indicated that the Oos, which were the low-tech civilization that lived on the larger planet, rebelled against the Roloa Shal, who were the more technologically advanced civilization who lived on the smaller M-class planet.
Yeah,
sorry, go on.
Why the Prime Directive is important. The worked example.
So yes, it seems the Oos were not ready to be uplifted, and their somewhat more tribalistic, primitive mentality meant that they responded in an aggressive way, and they co-opted the asteroid defense system to start hurling asteroids at the other planets. The other planet's own defensive system was altered to do the same, and they both basically bombed each other into oblivion with asteroids. A sad, sad end. Nevertheless, a couple of extra hours are given to a bit more cartographical information on that kind of thing, finding where the ruins are, confirming that there are absolutely no signs of life, and the places that weren't cratered into nothingness would have eventually have become entirely uninhabitable thanks to the particulate dust from the asteroids colliding with the surface of the planets, made them both uninhabitable. So, the Captain Sobek gives the order that the Combs should now break orbit and should depart the system. Dr. Sott, of course, will insist that everybody who had any kind of injuries will report to sickbay, whether or not they like it, in order to get them seen to, while any all bits of data and technology that were taken from the planet are stowed away safely, so that they can be examined when you return to Narendra Station. However, before you are actually able to break the system, a computer alert sounds, and your comm officer, Ensign Ravalon, speaks up. Captain, we're being hailed by another ship. Priority message, high security clearance. Gurkow, who is on sensors, can ascertain that it is an Excelsior-class Starfleet vessel, has just warped into the system. The name of the ship has now just completely lost my brain, and I wasn't clever enough to note it down, so I am going to say... it's not the Appalachia, because the Appalachia was a steam runner. I'm going to say the Arturo. The USS Arturo has entered into the system, and we are being hailed, Captain. Security clearance suggests the ID tag is Admiral Stoker? Captain Sobek looks over at his first officer with a quizzical Vulcan eyebrow and then just nods towards Ensign Ravalon and comms. Open communications. At which point, hailing frequencies are opened, and on the viewer you see a middle-aged human woman with a couple of telling scars on her face and patches of grey and white in her hair. She's definitely an admiral from the pips on her collar. This is Admiral Barnes Stoker contacting the Combs. Captain Sobek, are you receiving me? Captain Sobek acknowledges. We are receiving you loud and clear, Admiral. May we be of assistance? I am hereby requesting Security Protocol 46A subparagraph 3 be enacted. Captain Sobek again raises a quizzical Vulcan eyebrow, looks over at Commander Hopkins with a very much a what's going on kind of look, if you know how to read Vulcans. But nonetheless, he motions over towards Ensign Ravalon. You heard the Admiral, Ensign. Please security encode the transmission. It takes a few moments for Ensign Ravalon to select a suitable encryption cipher, but then he reports. Communication channel has been encrypted, Captain. Very well, Admiral, says Captain Sobek. How can we be of assistance? The Admiral looks behind her and seems to be making sure there's nobody else in the room with her. She appears to be communicating not from the bridge of the opposite ship, but from a room. Possibly the captain's ready room, it's difficult to tell. Your crew have recently come into contact with numerous evidences of an alien civilization in the Shackleton Expanse, correct? That is correct, Admiral. As of right now, I am requiring you to seal all of your records pertaining to any information, any mission data pertaining to these specific instances of this alien civilization. Understood? Captain Sobek speaks up. I'm sorry, Admiral. I'm unclear as to the reasons behind these security precautions. We have discovered evidence of a long dead or departed civilization, yes. Why are we requiring to engage in these curiously over-the-top security measures as a result of a long-gone civilization? The Admiral replies. You have questions. I know this, and this, I know, seems strange, but for the moment I'm going to have to ask you to trust me. You're on to more than you realize. But for now, I need a bit of time. The crew of the Combs are forbidden from talking about this subject with anyone outside of itself. Understood? Even people you tend to interact with on the station to which you are stationed. You will not discuss anything more to do with any ancient civilization and anything that links it to other planets and civilizations within the Shackleton Expanse. Am I understood? Of course, Admiral. If you are ordering us to not discuss this with anybody else, then we will, of course, obey these orders. Excellent. We will meet each other again, Captain, on Narendra Station, but for now, I ask you to be patient and wait. Answers will be coming soon. Stoker out. It's not long before the Excelsior ship turns about and departs, leaving everybody on the Combs, no doubt, rather confused. But, nonetheless, that is where we end our episode for today. So, yes, this was one of those abject lessons in why the Prime Directive can be so very important. Totally did not bring back a droid, hides it in her room. Yeah, just quite.
We're concealing our research that we've taken and these trophies because that's what we were commanded to do. So we need to safeguard them. That's why we can't share it.
Afraid not.
Exactly. And Hopkins is totally not going to have Tavish remodify the droid with disruptor phasers.
Disruptors and phasers. So you basically want Tavish to reactivate and reprogram these security droids.
Just the droid that she has to obey.
Just the one. Okay.
Hopkins.
We will see indeed. Yes, that's the end of this episode. So yeah, thank you for playing, guys. I hope you enjoyed that particular little archaeological expedition. So, yes, we will get on with the stuff that happens in between episodes with acclaim and milestones. I will probably deal with that tomorrow and post it to the Discord channel. Anybody who has any downtimes as a result to take place between the end of this episode and the start of the next one can, of course, note it down either in the Discord channel or can message me via Discord directly. Now then, the coming weeks, let's see, the 8th, the 15th, what have I got as far as my schedule is concerned for you guys? Let me just check. Next one up, okay, so next week, be more than likely taking an inter-episode break, just so I can give myself enough time to do more preparation. So we will more than likely be starting again on the 15th, if that's okay. Is everybody available for Sunday the 15th?
I'm not sure at the moment. I might be doing filming.
Okay.
But if I am available, I should know close to the time.
Okay. If you are the only one absent, are you alright with folks carrying on without you?
Absolutely, as long as you don't get me killed.
Alrighty, no problem. There is, of course, as well as the 15th, and we'll probably carry on to the 22nd, depending on how well you guys do with the next episode. There is, of course, Sunday the 29th, which will be our Halloween episode of October. So, yes, we will be using Trail of Cthulhu. So, yes, Mark?
I was going to say, interestingly, my stuff lines up, whereas I'm available once a fortnight, but it falls exactly on the
The
sequence
29th.
there. So,
Yeah.
so I'm not available next week, but we're not doing it. I am available the 15th, not available the 22nd, I am available the 29th,
Okay.
and then not available on the...
The 5th.
That's my once a fortnight sequence going for the next month.
Okay.
Um,
Okay.
May
Deal
not
with
be
that.
available on the 22nd.
Okay, so what is the next episode then? The next episode is... Ooh. That one has taken more than one session to do. Okay, what I will do instead then... because if you're not available on the 22nd, that means that Mark and you will both be missing from that episode. But that will be the ending half of that episode, so as long as you're both okay with other folks carrying on without you?
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. But then it's going to be a 3-week run, the 15th, the 22nd, and the 29th. I will send you more information about the Halloween episode when I have it available, because first I have to get the hang of Trail of Cthulhu, and then I have to finalize the actual episode itself and what goes on in it and how it's going to happen. So, yeah, fun Halloween episode coming up. I hope anyway. I hope it'll be fun. It should be, but I haven't done Trail of Cthulhu before, so we'll see how it goes. And if it needs to carry on over to the next week, which is the 5th of November, then it'll have to carry on until the next week. We'll see how we do for time. But I will try and make it as concentrated, spooky fun as I can possibly get it. So as long as everybody's still available for that, then in the meantime, I will, put the next game in my schedule as we see here. Again, remember to check out Solarity and the Utter Crisp gaming channel. For those of you who have been following this on the stream, thank you very much for tuning in. For those of you who are watching this later on YouTube, if you enjoyed this, please consider giving us a like, because it gives our master, the algorithm, a chance to see that people are actually watching this kind of thing and want to watch this kind of thing. So, yeah. Also, if you want to be notified as to when we do, because we sometimes release videos rather sporadically, then, you know, hit the bell icon to be notified when we do actually put these videos up. In the meantime, I wish you all to live long and prosper, to look after each other, and to, well, yeah, maybe do like Vulcans do, which is not only engage in infinite diversity and infinite combinations, but also follow the orders of Starfleet admirals and remain stum about the strange artifacts that you've been uncovering. Because you never know, they might be dangerous. Nevertheless, we ask you all to look after yourselves in these crazy, crazy times, treat each other with respect and care, and we will see you again when we see you next. Until then, our hailing frequencies are now closed.